Today we're going to be talking with Charles Atlas. He uses his knowledge of farming and agriculture to fight against oppression, as well as provide and feed his people with better options of consumption. Charles is into much more than that. He's a writer, amongst other things, and we're going to see if we can get him on the phone so we can pick him up.
Hello?
Peace, brother. This is Kelvin Gervais. How are you, Charles?
I'm pretty good. Yourself, brother?
I'm good, brother. I'm out actually close to your area, and I wanted to see if you would like to come driving while black with me.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It'd be my honor.
Brother, it will be mine as well. I'll see you shortly.
All right. Get back, brother.
Peace. Let's go pick this brother up and see if we can get a healthier diet.
Hey, what's good, brother?
Peace, brother.
Good
How
to
you?
see you.
Good to see you. Come on in.
Good.
It's also a pleasure to meet you, brother.
Oh, same here, brother.
You know, it's rare, being in Raleigh, that I do interviews with individuals I haven't personally met.
Mm-hmm.
We shared conversation back and forth on social media, things like that, and but it's truly an honor to meet you, because I have a high respect for two types of people: those who feed us and those who take care of our children.
No doubt.
And that's something that it holds close to my heart for several different reasons. But I did a quick introduction of who you are, but could you please first pass greetings to everybody?
Oh, greetings, everyone.
And tell us who you are.
Well, my name is Charles Mcnaga. I'm from Halifax County, North Carolina.
All right.
Born and bred. So, just a country boy trying to make sure everything is done right and correct, with all this stuff coming down with the food systems, the money, everything is breaking down right now with what's going on. So as Babylon burns, we need to build,
Right.
Or else we're gonna be caught in the fire.
That's right.
Even Martin Luther King said, the house is on fire, why you gonna run back into it? You know what I'm saying?
That's powerful. That's powerful.
So ain't nothing but a country boy trying to look out for everybody from the state.
I know that's right. Now, brother, you also have Fourth World Foods.
Yes.
Could you explain to us what Fourth World Food is?
Fourth World Foods, the title was taken from a couple of inspirational sources. One was that, being in Goldsboro, doing what I was doing at a charter school there, of course, my Buffalo brethren and I, Buffalo Soldier brethren,
Right.
We saw a report from one of the, what do you call those folks, politicians' office.
Right.
That said that
Right.
conditions, the health conditions in eastern North Carolina are akin to third world conditions. So we were like, we from here. It's third world.
Now, I've never heard of that before. Say that again.
Well, we had heard, and we didn't see the actual report either, but
Yeah.
it was reported that the health care conditions in North Carolina
Right.
are equivalent to third world countries.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were
Wow.
like, we third world. So then, formulating a name for the company, I came up on, I didn't want to, keep pushing that third world concept, because we need to have a better vision of who we can be, who we are.
Indeed.
So I came across a quote from a brother from Tanzania while he was speaking to the Native American brethren from Canada, and the brother from Tanzania said, when indigenous people and native people can live and practice their own culture and eat their own foods, then we'll be in the fourth world. So fourth world is a reflection of a return back to indigenous traditions. We're all indigenous. We're from the earth.
That's right,
You know what I'm saying?
brother.
We're from the land. So it depends on how you want to rock that yourself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If you want to separate yourself from the land, which is our protection, which is where we get all our guidance, our science, everything from. Or if you want to separate yourself from the land, and then you fall into the mentality of thinking that you're better than the earth. You know, and you start treating the earth like trash. So that's reflective of the whole concept of patriarchy. Patriarchy, you know what I'm saying, which tells, you know, say we're here to rule the earth and make the earth do what we want to.
Right.
But our concept is we're here to caretake the earth and caretake each other and work in harmony with it, you know, and that's where we get our protection from. So it's a return to our ways, because, you know, in this food thing, we look at how they're using words like permaculture, which is nothing but someone went and studied indigenous ways of doing things and renamed it. You know, they've even urban ag now, urban gardeners, urban farmers. You know, man, one of our partners in Winston-Salem pointed out, he was like, yeah, back in the day, urban meant black. It still does. Urban wear, urban, you know, music, urban
That's
whatever.
right.
So now this is a way for them to ease back into, and they want urban now. So now you got urban gardeners, so they're all from all different types of backgrounds, not just urban black. So
urban much, and I'm pardon self for cutting you off, but urban itself is similar to other terms from what your description is, like minorities, low income. It has now become an ambiguous term that does not directly identify black individuals.
Exactly. Now that they want to take back the inner cities and gentrify them,
Right.
Because the food corridors and everything in North Carolina and all over the country, whether it's Denver, whatever, are coming back through these downtowns. And so, you know, the food systems in North Carolina, you know, they got the term food deserts. You know, that's another term we want to say, hey, let's look at that term. You know, a desert is natural. You know, this is man-made, so let's look at like apartheid and systems like
That's
that.
right.
You know?
That's
So
right.
reclaiming our language, reclaiming our identity, reclaiming our culture. That's what Fourth World Foods is about, and it's about giving access to global markets and other markets outside of the local markets that a farmer may not have access to because of what's going on the global level with food. Companies, you know, Amazon had a big shakeup with the whole, you know, so all the food companies are scrambling, trying to figure out how to compete and get people's dollars. But the millennials are driving the market for pure food or organic foods.
Right.
And so now we also know, you know, being entrenched in this food movement for so long, that the term organic is now being watered down. And, you know, so we're creating with Fourth World Foods and our corporate partner, which is Copedia, a pure standard, tested pure, because once the food comes out of the garden, or you know, it's tested, free of GMOs and free of toxins and poisons and pesticides. So the test is the truth. You don't go to school and, you know what I'm saying, you get a test. So we're gonna, you know, we upping the ante, you know what I'm saying? So not only is our food organic, it's also tested pure.
Wow.
So we can have a pure food supply, because we know that if your enemy feeds you, then you already lost the war. So we know that things like what's going on now, you know, with the possibility of the SNAP recipients receiving food boxes instead of having a choice.
Right. Quite disturbing.
So when they take away your choice, you got to eat what they give you.
Right.
So looking at what's going on the larger level, when Mexico said, no, we're not going to build a wall, and we're going to get our commodities, soy, corn, and wheat from Brazil, that's a $10 billion hit to the American farmer, the American economy. So who's going to eat that stuff now? The millennials are not going to eat it. So our community is being targeted to receive all of that GMO toxins and stuff like that to be received through the SNAP program.
Now, I want to go back and touch on something you just said about organic. We know what organic is being used as far as the definition and context. Could you please provide us, who don't know, the proper definition of organic?
Well, the term organic came about when a group of farmers back in the day started, and they wanted to have a standard outside of the conventional farming using pesticides, monoculture, and things like that. So the focus of organic initially was on the soil, to make sure it was grown in soil, and it was, you know, toxic free, poison free of toxins, whether it's pesticides and herbicides and GMOs. So now that it's become big business, again, as the millennials are pushing this market of organics, and it's growing by billions of dollars a year, now big business wants in on it, and they've watered down that organic standard. So now you can grow hydroponically and still be organic certified without soil. So, you know, we as agroecologists and people of the earth, indigenous people of the soil, know that your soil is where all of your good stuff begins.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? From your plant immunity system to your to the taste of your food and all the phytonutrients that the soil feeds, because the soil contains microbes as well as fungi and mycorrhiza that helps everything work together. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole complete system. So if you take that out, and if you allow folks to grow without the soil, then some folks say it's not organic. But we have a huge system that needs to feed a lot of people.
Right.
So but yeah, the organic standard, even when it was not watered down, you had farmers. I know farmers who would cheat. You know what I'm saying? And even though, like I said, the standard is so messed up, like you can get organic grass-fed beef right at the store. It's grass-fed all up to the point where it's finished. That point on time when they finish it off, they feed it corn, GMO and stuff like that. So, so what's the definition of organic? So we're just taking it back to say tested pure at the end. So if it don't test pure, it ain't clean. It can't come into our food supply of fourth world foods and compete in. So we, again, our overall goal is to make sure we feed ourselves first.
Of course.
With a pure food supply, because we know that leads to all of the health issues. So now you're talking about supply chain issues. So when we talk about fourth world foods and the local network on the ground in North Carolina that we formed to plug into the global mercantile organization that's already existing. So now we're talking about supply chain management. So you're talking about the farmer grows the food. So everybody in our supply chain we know and we trust, and we keep it in the family.
Right.
So we can have complete supply chain control of our supply chain. And so when you go and buy something from one of our vendors, it's like, you might go buy something from somebody that made some stuff, but you don't know where their herbs came from to make their tea. They didn't grow them. So, they just made it ordered off the line from somebody, but who's to say that they didn't get them from a poisonous source or whatever. So supply chain integrity is what we're about. So that creates jobs, because we need somebody to grow the food, we need somebody to process the food, package the food, we need somebody to deliver the food, we need some security for the warehousing, we need somebody to clean up the warehousing, we need somebody to have restaurants to serve the food, we have to have caterers. So you're talking about a complete food system, and now you're also talking about an offensive and a defensive move at the same time, because we get if you shut down the food supply, that's a large part of the economy. Not shut it down, but if you stop eating their food or stop buying their food, that's going to empower us at the same time, depower the forces that be that are controlling. And they just use our dollars to keep us in a position.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
and it's so amazing, and this is one thing that even just attracted me about fourth world foods when I was reading and even just chatting with you, is that something a lot of us are not doing, and this is including the individuals who are so-called in the struggle. We don't address the food issue properly.
No, we don't.
We don't address, and a lot of us don't even utilize the food to fight our oppressors.
We don't.
And you have actually just opened up a powerful door, because a lot of us haven't even thought of the business aspects of it, and the crippling, not that it does to our health, but what it does to the black economy.
Because you mentioned earlier about the youth. That's why I did a lot of work around youth organizing in my life. And thinking that, that's the central point. Everybody cares about children, and everybody.
Indeed. And
found out I didn't have. That's not the truth. Not everybody has children. Not everybody care about children. But everybody eats several times a day if they can, and if they can't, that's an issue to be addressed through this. So when we're talking about, like I said, having our own economy, old folks told me, any old folk I talk to, they say, if you ain't got no product, you ain't got nothing. You ain't producing nothing. So we all cook, you know what I'm saying? So what's to stop us from, and North Carolina has been set up for the last 10 years with this food. There's so many resources in North Carolina to walk you through how to start your own food business, get your own label for your company, all this stuff. And we haven't, as a people, accessed those resources. And, some of us have, because they come to our communities over the last 10 years, and they've been talking about this stuff. But what we've noticed and why we've come together with our farmer comrades here in North Carolina is because we've been a lot of all of us have been utilized for our knowledge and skills to build these farms and systems and ideas on how to get to the community.
Indeed.
And then once the food money comes,
Mhm.
you know, after that 1 year, we're let go. You know what I'm saying? Or we advise folks on how to get their money and what to write into the grants. They get it and they forget about us. You know, we have a most recent application of that. Somebody from Puerto Rico. We were helping them, got them a grant. They wrote a grant for $167,000 for 2 years to help rebuild the food economy.
Right.
And you know, all of a sudden they don't know us. But then they came back because it's like, okay, so what do I do now? We're like, well, you can hire us and we can show you what to do now. So we're fighting. Folks want free stuff. The folks that don't know the things on how to get into our communities that this money is for. These what they call grass tops people, university folks.
I experienced that even in my business, even with just organizing black businesses.
Yes,
I experienced that they want to use your knowledge.
Yes, sir. Use your knowledge and your face.
And your relationships and your face. They want to utilize it for them, and then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, or suddenly, phones aren't answered, emails aren't returned, and you've given all of your information and all your ideas over to. That's terrible.
Yeah, so we just, you know, some brothers and I and sisters across the state the last 2 years that said, you know, let's get it ourselves. Since we're the ones doing the work, we have, you know, skills amongst ourselves. Let's circle up and provide for ourselves first as a sharing circle. And then we'll go outside of our circle for anything we don't need. You know, like farmers used to do. We all used to come together, put the barn up. Or black community in general.
That's right.
That's what we used to do, just come together.
So before there was a name for it, we did that. We were doing it before it was a name for it.
Before it was a name for it. Then taking back our stuff that we already had.
And the reality is there was no name for it because it was our culture. It wasn't a job.
Exactly.
It wasn't just a something that you did to acquire wealth. But you're not just trying to service individuals. Fourth World is actually in a position where it can service grocery stores, where it can service restaurants, where it can service our industries that provide food.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You mentioned the Fertile Ground Co-op. I'm actually a member of that.
Oh, good, good.
I think last year.
Shout out to Fertile Ground.
Shout out to Fertile Ground. I'll be getting up with you soon so we can get this thing off the ground.
And I have this coin, this saying I've coined that, you know, in our struggle, convenience is the cousin to complacency. All right. So just because, as you know, we've passed probably 3 mainstream grocery stores and just our driving in Raleigh. And we'll easily go to these stores sacrificing our health. You see what I'm saying? And that's something that we have to get out of. Does Fourth World hold any type of education for this? Because I also know you're a writer.
Okay, so Fourth World Foods will, in conjunction with, you know, especially for North Carolina, again, I've been trying to connect the brothers and the sisters here in North Carolina to have our North Carolina connection into Fourth World Foods.
Indeed.
So we do provide the training, we do provide the anything that a local food system would need to get up and running as a local food system. So, you know, and folks don't have to wait because there's a process of letting folks know what they can do, getting the folks who are willing to do it, and teaching them how to do it, finding access to land to grow. And so that's a whole process. So as we're assisting the community in doing that, to provide their own hyper-local food system, Fourth World Foods can provide that community with anybody who wants to go ahead and open a store, start a food buying club, a co-op, a restaurant, a catering company. We can go ahead and pump into Fourth World Foods, which is organic and totally, you know, pure. And at the same time, my crew, we're assisting the local farmers to get up to speed, to go to learn how to grow organically, because that's a whole nother issue of knowing how to grow without pesticides. So we're here to learn. We're here to teach folks how to create a local food system, and at the same time, while they're waiting, be able to provide the local products that they need to go ahead and get running and create that dollar. You know what I'm saying, for the income for themselves. And at the same time, Fourth World Foods is global because we're tied in with Copedia Incorporated. We're a corporate partner. And Copedia used to be what people used to know as Beatrice Foods.
I remember that.
Yeah, so old school cats like me and you know Beatrice all day long.
That's old. Yeah. I haven't heard that in a decade or two.
Yeah, so the brother of Reginald Lewis, who became the world's first black billionaire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? From purchasing Beatrice Foods and creating a multinational corporation, diversified, because he owned part shares of Goodyear and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now the lady Anna Marie Carter has a possession of that corporation, and so she's set up youth underneath as partners of her corporation. Fourth World Foods is one of the youth organizations, and I'm the oldest of the youth at 47 years old.
Okay.
So I'm sort of the pace car.
All right.
And so,
I like that.
And our whole goal is to help other youth set up companies so the youth can run our own food supply, and the world belongs to the youth. You know what I'm saying? I'm 47. My time is over. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for, anybody who wants to set up a food business, we're walking through that. Anybody wants to do organic gardening, we're walking through that so they can get a contract. Because we also give out contracts to grow, whether you're growing in your backyard, in buckets, or you growing on land. If you can produce the food and it's tested pure, we give you money for it. That's bottom line. So that's what any farmer needs, is a guaranteed source of income. Because not many farmers want to keep going to the farmers market to sell piece by piece. If they know they got a contract, for instance, we got a $5 million contract for millet.
What's that? Explain.
It's just like a rice substitute. That's what they used to eat before rice.
Right.
So it's another grain, and you have to deal with less of the stuff.
Yeah, because rice is not that healthy for you, from what I hear.
Nah, it's so for instance, if you grow much millet as you can in your backyard, and you get $3,000 worth of that, hey, that's $3,000 for you. So we're providing contracts, we're providing educational assistance on folks how to get up to speed and join in. We're providing food, you know what I'm saying, for those. And Fourth World Food now has it's a privatized membership structure right now. Like I'm selling to foreign companies in the Caribbean basin and all around the world where they can't grow food. England just had a freeze and they messed up all
I read about
food.
that. I read about that.
So I can call up the international companies and be like, look, I got food or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Walmart, Kmart, all these big food buying companies I sell to. At the same time, we have a private membership, which we sell to privately, and then we're going to roll out where we have our own farmers markets and stuff like that. So with more of the public can access to. But just like the food buying club, like Costco, whatever, we have a food buying club as well. Right. So you can order the membership. Members get discounts, and you know what I'm saying. For instance, if you're in Raleigh and if you're a member and you're a distributor as well, you'll just take orders, and then we'll deliver food truck for here. You get like $1,000 per delivery. Right. Just for taking orders, and you can eat the food yourself or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we're providing different avenues for folks to make money in whatever capacity they want to get into this thing.
Right.
Because the world is ours. The world is yours. The world is yours.
Right.
It is yours if you just take it. Take it.
That's right. Oh,
you know
my goodness. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, what does success look like to you for Fourth World Foods?
Success to me for Fourth World Foods look like the completion of the mission. The mission is same as the Rastafarian creed, because I'm a member of the North Carolina Rastafari Union as well. Just to feed the hungry, nourish the sick, you know what I'm saying? Look after the infant, you know what I'm saying? So let's do it. So that's what success means to me, is people fed and people with money in their pockets and people working together. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To take back our birthright.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is the earth. And since now this is only one of the last things that we can access as a natural resource is the earth or the ground and dirt. Let's start with that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been in Charlotte for a long time, and there's a lot of issues going on in a lot of urban areas. But again, the food piece I see intersects everything.
Yes.
And if folks can start with that food, we can start to address the homelessness, the whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because we do have a mission where we're going to prisons, teaching that course. One of our members has taught courses in prison before, because the prisons know that the inmates need a marketable skill once they get out. Right. And so the field of organics is growing. Eastern North Carolina is set. They're looking at that to be the food hub to feed the growing Raleigh metro area of the next 30 years. But everybody out there grows conventionally with poisons. So now there's a big push again to let farmers out there know about organics. So that's what we're going to be pushing as well in the black community and the black farmers in Eastern North Carolina, is help transition them to organics, give them a contract with Fourth World Foods Copedia, so they're set up, and then we all rock and freak the local scene. While global, I might have a smart city over in Dubai or somewhere, they can't grow food. Right. But Copedia already has the contacts global with that.
Right,
So they
I
may
got you.
want 50,000 pallets of something that your boy may produce, some
Right.
cologne or something that's
Right.
natural that we grow the herbs for. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, boom, there you go. You got 50,000, order 50,000.
Right.
You can still sell locally,
Right.
but you got a guaranteed source of income.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the farmer is not looking for, they're looking for something that's already been sold out of the fields before they get it out. Or it's going to go bad. It's perishable. So we're looking at the food, we're looking at textiles, because you can grow your own clothes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were talking to a hemp farmer to hopefully grow about 2.5 acres of hemp this year under his license, and while we apply for our own license.
Yeah.
We're talking about building construction materials. We're talking about the dyes, the paints, everything. We're planting the indigo, the processes that we have our own original blue denim for our own denim. Everything that can be done in a non-toxic manner and produced from the earth, that's what we want to do. That's our overall goal, is to replace, we'll give folks options, better options.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whether or not they choose,
It's up to them.
it's up to
I get
them.
what you're saying.
But right now, they don't have the options.
Right.
And so I think that because of the market forces now are pushing towards toxic-free or less toxic options.
Right.
So let's just do it. Let's get it and do it.
That's
Plant
right.
some flax and make some what do you call it? Linen. You know what
I know
I'm
that's
saying?
right, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
I know that's
Yeah,
right.
I want to see everybody
I know that's
walking
right,
around
brother.
in high fashion linen,
That's right.
cotton, hemp.
That they
you know
grew
what I'm saying?
themselves.
Silk, even
Oh,
silk.
that's right. That's right.
Them design themselves, grew
Mhm.
themselves, and we dyed them ourselves.
That's
you know what I'm
right.
saying? So it's possible. We used to do it.
Yeah, and it's not a pipe dream.
Not a pipe dream.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
and along the lines of that, because a lot of us, we think, I don't own my home, I don't have 7 acres, how can I be effective in farming? For that person, please outline to them the simplest way that you can start doing. I've seen people personally, even in New York, even in Chicago, I've seen people with 5-gallon buckets, all right, on a rooftop,
Yes, sir.
positioned directly for the sun,
Yes, sir.
to grow just simple tomatoes, to start with simple tomato. Even my queen and I, start growing things. Little simple stuff is what you can start with. What advice would you give that person?
Exactly. Start growing in whatever capacity you can. You know what I'm saying? Choose toxic free. If you choose plastic, get the food grade plastic.
Right.
You can go to Walmart and either for $1 or free, they give you their leftover food grade buckets from the deli.
Right.
Find some dirt, you know what I'm saying, and just start growing. But you can contact me, and then we can show you how to grow.
Right.
And put you on that path, because ultimately we're gonna have our own school. You know what I'm saying?
Brother.
Agroecological stuff to bring all that stuff back.
Do you have a name for the school and everything?
We don't have a name for it.
Okay,
yet, you know
all
what I'm
right. Because I was
saying?
going to tell you this. You got to say that for them to look out for. But go ahead, continue.
But the easiest thing to do is just to start getting your green thumb and learning about the processes of growing without chemicals, without your miracle grow. You know what I'm saying? Without what do you call those man-made chemicals? You know what I'm saying? Because all of the fertilizer come from the petroleum industry, the leftovers from the gas industry and the oil industry.
Really?
That's what they make fertilizer. Oh yeah. All that stuff and those chemicals were initially meant to be made to make weapons for bombs and stuff. After World War II, they had so many chemicals left. It was like, okay, what we're gonna do? These petrol-based chemicals. What we're gonna do? Oh, make fertilizer and put it in the ground. We'll make pesticides and put it on the stuff. We'll make herbicides. So all of the stuff, herbicides, pesticides, and these oil-based fertilizers come from wartime industries that are applied onto your food. So in my eyes, there's a war on your food and there's a war on us. If somebody wants to get into or learn more about how to start their own business or whether to grow their own food, just get in contact with us at Farming for Justice.
Please tell us where you can be reached. All social media, all website, anything.
Okay. We can be reached at farmingforjustice@gmail.com. That's the name of our entire crew in North Carolina that represents what we're doing.
Right.
Again, that's farmingforjustice@gmail.com, and we'll get back in touch with you, soon. We're in the process of putting up our website right now.
I understand.
And everything like that. But we have like experts in our fields. You know what I'm saying? There's a brother who used to set up and ran Kanita Life Farms, and they won CNN Hero Awards a couple of years ago.
In Kanita, North Carolina.
Kanita, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So he's with our crew. Another brother who's his name is Maurice Small. He's originally from Ohio. He helped set up City Fresh, I believe is the name of that system. He worked in North Carolina for about a year. He's down in Atlanta now, but he's our elder. He, rose with us. He's done a lot of work in Raleigh too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'd love to meet him.
With some folks who utilize some of his stuff for other purposes. You know what I'm saying? So again, we've all been utilized and used to the point of some of us at some points have no lights. Some of us, we're being evicted. Some of us digging in the garbage cans to feed our families. These are the farmers that produce. So again, we're here to help you, help yourself, and getting this money and plugging you into the local food systems as well as a global structure, because it's on now.
That's right, brother.
Yeah.
So
we're looking to grow some stuff this spring. Provide anything you need. If you want a box of anything, whatever, we deliver. Again, but we'll come to your spot and help you grow, and plug you into our Farmer by Farmer Coalition, which is a group of farmers that share the ideas, that share the resources, that share labor and everything. So if you have access to land, if you do have land, talk to me for real, because we can set up some stuff and you can get paid. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're trying to do. We hope people can want to get a part of it. You know what I'm saying? If you make something already, a product or something, whether it's incense or whatever, or food product, if you want to join in with Fourth Ward Foods and Wikipedia, that's an easy part because you're already doing it. All you gotta do is get the raw materials for your product through our network, through our supply chain, because then we know it's tested pure. Because we're gonna test the product. If you make soap, we're gonna test the product in order to market it through our channels. So if you use our stuff, we're gonna know it's tested pure. And you're throwing money back into the circle, and we're throwing money back to you, and that's how it's.
And you're also providing the education.
Exactly.
Brother, that's excellent.
So wherever level people want to get in, they can get in. We just need some more soldiers.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That's
right, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, look, I thank you for driving while black.
No problem.
And I honestly, generally learned today.
Okay.
All right, this just wasn't conversation. You actually taught me a lot today and gave me a lot of motivation. And I'm most definitely going to keep in contact with you. Anything I can do to help you, reach out anytime.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yes,